If they hate you, don't do anything but love them. Charles Adams stated some very true words. Because in this nation, we often give up sometimes, when in fact, just a little bit more resilience is about to change. And I hope that whether we agree or disagree with the President and his agenda, that we are praying for him. Why? Because whether we like it or do not like it, he is the President of the United States of America. And I've been blessed to meet and interact with a number of presidents, including President Bush's, both President Bush's, including your own former governor, President Clinton, including presidents as far back as I can remember. Been blessed to have met them. And each of them has a tough task. President Reagan signed the King Holiday Bill in 1983. Met him. Of course, President Carter was our governor, so met him. But our president will continue to provide leadership. But for him to be a great leader, we must be good followers. And when we don't agree, we need to let him know. And what I mean by that, well, you probably assume, well, you're an African American, you voted for President Obama. Well, that's true, but not because he was an African American. It had nothing to do with that for me. There may be some who did. But I am a proponent of nonviolence. And so I'm very concerned now that 30,000 of our troops, some probably from this state, will be going to Afghanistan. Very concerned about that posture that the president had to take. That's a posture that I believe if my father were alive, he would have to challenge the president on. To say, Mr. President, we don't believe that's the right way. We understand terrorism. We understand you have to address terror, but he might say something like, you can't address terrorism. When you treat people with dignity and respect, and as they are human beings, then terrorism will go away. Now that's a different discussion from fanaticism. That's a whole different animal. I don't know that I have a solution there, but I know that terrorism we certainly can reduce and maybe even abolish. Fanaticism is a different discussion that we have to continue to work on. But I believe that's what my father would tell us. And then he'd tell us that the ultimate measure of a human being is not where he or she stands in times of comfort and convenience, but truly where you stand in times of challenge and controversy. He'd go on to say that on some question, cowardice asked the question, is a position safe? Expediency asked the question, is a position politic? Vanity asked the question, is a position popular? But that something deep inside called conscience asked the question, is a position right? He went on to say that sometimes we must take positions that are neither safe nor popular nor politic, but we must take those positions because our consciences tell us they're right. So we must somehow learn to depend on what our consciences tell us. You know, as children, I'm learning this with my daughter. She's almost 2. And she does stuff sometimes, and this is what conscience is. Like she'll knock something over. Now initially they just knock it over and they don't know what they're doing. They're just cute. Ooh, that's cute. But at some point they start saying, uh-oh, because their consciences know that they've done something wrong or improper. And see, we all have that ability. Sometimes we allow it to be dormant or asleep. But But we must awaken and arouse our consciousness so that we always do that which is good, just, and right. Quite frankly, that's what makes America America. Because we have the capacity to look deep inside of ourselves. And sometimes, many times I should say, we will do the right thing. And so if you garner nothing else this evening, I hope that you understand that as we've observed this King holiday, that there's a body of work that still must be done in our nation and throughout our world. And we don't have a person to lose. So in the words of that song, do not get any ways tired. Why? Because we've come much too far from where we started. No one ever told any of us that our roads would be easy, but I am convinced that our God did not bring any of us this far to leave us. Sure, I'll be glad to.
I had a quick question. You touched briefly about like the funds and stuff that the government, as far as what they're trying to do, like you said, the health care. Now, I had a question about the bailout funds. Now, I did a little research on it, and then, the media says it vanished out into the air. Like basically, I'm not sure. It's kind of like a government conspiracy. A lot of articles I've been reading on. I want to know your opinion on what you think happened with that.
With the bailout funds, yeah. Or what specifically are you?
Just like the bailout funds paid. I'm not sure what amount it was, but they said
lots.
Yeah.
With a lot of S's on it. Lots.
Yeah. My understanding is, the price of gold over the time, of course, since the 1990s, went up a lot. And right about now, I believe it's up to about 1,000 an ounce or something like this. So our money is not actually bagged. We have more money out there in debt than we actually do have gold.
That's a fact.
The government itself is in debt to, whomever that is. So, but I kind of wanted to get your opinion on that and see what you thought about that and, your takes on what you thought.
That's a very good question. I don't know if everyone heard, but the comment had to do with the fact that there really is not enough gold in Fort Knox or wherever gold is kept to back up the debt that we have. That is accurate. We have the debt is in the trillions, and the question becomes, how will we ever pay it back? I wish I could tell you I had an answer. I'm certainly not an economist. But what I do believe is that there can be ultimately some management. I think the economy first has to be turned around. And that's the biggest challenge. How is the economy going to be turned around? How is it the jobs going to be created? We know the statistical data. 4 million people almost have just decided they would stop even looking for work. And U.S. students graduate every year from colleges and universities, and there are fewer jobs than there were at one time. So the President and the Congress have on their shoulders, how do we get this economy going? The Federal Reserve Chair and his team are supposed to be, they purport to be responsible for, lowering and raising inflation. And they do have that ability by what they put out in the marketplace. I don't know that I can answer that question. It is a big problem, a huge problem. But I do believe that